Hi again, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm, and I'm here in a very neglected part of my garden where I have a whole bunch of my hydrangeas. And unfortunately, I've left them a little bit too long. I've let them suffer with too little watering. I've let them get a little bit overgrown and lopsided and misshapen. So if I gave them a little bit of attention right now, I could pull up my pruners, but I would expect you to be yelling at your screens at that point and say, Jason, wait, it's August, don't prune your hydrangeas. And you'd be exactly right. Hydrangeas are, in general, there are a couple of different groups, but in general, if I do any pruning right now, I'm going to cost blooms for next year. Anything after the beginning of August, mid-August onwards, they're setting buds for next year's blooms. And so if I do some pruning right now, I do so at the cost of blooming. I can make the analogy actually on this to roses. There are lots of roses that rebloom throughout the year and bloom on new growth. Those ones you can prune any time without really the thought of costing yourself any blooms for the next year. That would be most of the hybrid teas and floribundas. If you're looking at the old garden roses, however, you're looking at the ones that just bloom once in the spring, if you prune them late, you're going to cost yourself some blooms for later. So back to the topic of hydrangeas, there are a couple of groups that are in the same way. If you looked at the PG hydrangeas or the arborescens hydrangeas, those ones there you can bloom, you can cut first thing in the spring is usually the recommended time, but you can cut them anytime. They'll just bloom on new wood, and so it won't cost you a lot of blooming either way. If you're looking at the Mophead hydrangeas, however, and most of the other varieties of hydrangeas, you really have to hold off your pruning until after they bloom. Then at that point you can continue to prune all the way up until, say, beginning of August, mid-August, and then you should stop. Let me show you on some examples here. So this is a Mophead hydrangea over here, and overall I think could use a little bit of reshaping, but I'm not going to tackle any major portion of the pruning right now. I'm going to bite my tongue, hold my pruners, and sort of leave this until next year. The only part that I'm really going to tackle is just this one stem that's sticking out of the top here, because I'm going to have to correct that anyway. If I leave it alone, it's going to put the whole shrub out of balance. So I'm going to cut that here, and then the rest of it I will come back and do a more substantial prune after blooming next year. And even with all of that said, I should point out that there is no bad time to take out old, dead, diseased, or damaged wood. And I hope you can see here that this one here has no leaves coming out of it. It's completely dead wood. I can break it off by hand, but what I'd rather do is go right down to the base of that stem. I'll zoom in here as I do it and take it out with my blades, even this time of year, because, as I say, dead wood is fair game any time of year. Thanks so much for watching today as I refrain from pruning my hydrangeas. If you have any questions at all about the timing of pruning on hydrangeas or roses or other shrubs, feel free to drop those into the comments below. I'll see what I can do to help.